great, back with another episode of hashtag 1401 reviews. Hey man, I hope you're liking the new setup. The background sounds are provided for by Volcano. Without further ado, the album we'll be reviewing today is by YoungstaCPT. The album's name is 3T, Things Take Time. Let's get to know a little bit more about YoungstaCPT. He's all the way from Cape Town, Wynberg to be exact, hence the CPT. He owns his own record label, he owns his own music, he has a clothing line, YGen. He also has his own kick store, Unwanted Kicks. You can check those two on Instagram. You can also check him out on Instagram, basically check out what he's all about. He used to basically drop about a mixtape a month, so he's got a lot of music in his catalog. But his most recent mixtapes are to be continued with Young Loon Taliboom. He has another mixtape, Young Loon Taliboom. He also has How to Make It in South Africa. And the last one that I've heard from him was Wi-Fi with Maloon the Boom. We've also heard a couple of hits he was actually featured on, which are Bump the Cheese Up. He was actually on the remix on that one, and he was also on Dope by DJ Switch. His other few tracks that we basically he released videos for were Top 10 List and Flowing Through My DNA. So yeah, he's a well-rounded rapper, a lyricist. Let's get into this album. It's actually his debut album, 3T, Things Take Time. It's a dope album. It's got a couple of awards already under its belt. He's got a lyricism award, if I'm not mistaken. He basically won these awards on the Hip Hop Awards, South African Hip Hop Awards. So yeah, let's get into the album. The album's got 22 tracks. I feel like that is way too much to deliver. You know, looking at the way we consume music nowadays, it's a bit too much. You have to literally sit down and listen to the body of work that he's provided for us. But anyway, let's get into the album. We'll start off with track number 1, which is Pavement Special. It's not a track per se, it's more like guys talking about the violence that's actually happening in the community and how they should be doing things to empower the youth in order to get them out of the gangsterism and the violence. I feel like it's a bit too deep, but at the end of the day, he's a conscious rapper, so he's just trying to empower the youth. Moving on to track number 2, VOC, Voice of the Cape. On this track, I feel like he wants to be the mayor of Cape Town. He basically goes and gets into his activist pocket on this track, and he talks about the city, he talks about the good, he talks about the bad. It's got a West Side type beat, you know, LA, the West. It sounds like Dr. Dre or someone produced the track. On the end of the track, there's a skit by the old man. The old man is actually on the cover of the album. He's the young man on the cover, and he actually talks about the government and how the government is misusing taxpayers' money. Moving right along onto track number 3, Yati, which is his nickname. He's a sneakerhead on this track. He basically talks about that. He talks about his past life, growing up in Cape Town. He talks about family and growing up without a father, and how his mother hated his father. And on the end of the track, the old man is back again, and with a couple of words, and he talks about the government once again, and he talks about how they are not delivering at all within their community. They're not helping out the youth. They're not doing something for the community because it's so gangster stricken, violence stricken, drug infested too. Moving on to track number 4, La Familia. On this track, he basically talks about the gangster stricken environment he had to grow up in. He talks about old labels, actually. An old clothing label called Billabong. I'm not too sure if Billabong still exists, but yeah, that's a really old label. It's been a while since I heard about that. He also talks about family appreciation, you know, how we should appreciate our family and, you know, put family first. On the end of that track, the old man is back, and he basically reiterates that and talks about family and how you should be putting family first above everything. Track number 5 is YVR, Jan van Riebeck. I hope I said it right. Jan van Riebeck. It's got a catchy chorus. I really like the chorus. On this track, he talks about the slavery that actually took place in Cape Town, how Cape Town came to be what it is today, and it's got an old school type cheering vibe. You know, I really like that old school type rap. The chorus is so dope. I like that. He also gets into his activist pocket on this track. On the end of this track, the old man is once again back, and he talks about the white man, the history of the white man, and how the white man was so ignorant back in the day. Anyway, moving on to track number 6, Sensitive. This track I feel has like a Kendrick Lamar feel to it. On this track, he talks to young artists, and he talks about ownership when it comes to music. You know, the young rappers out there are basically signing record label contracts that they don't know what the details are to them. On this track, he breaks that down, and he sheds some light on that. And once again, he talks about the government. On the song, I feel like it's a sensitive song, and how people, he talks about how people are so sensitive to the music that is being made. And at the end of the day, it's music. Music is where people bleed, and they talk about what they really feel. And I feel like, why are people so sensitive sometimes? Anyway, moving on to track number 7, To Live and Die in CA, like Tupac's one, to live and die in LA. So you get the narrative. The track is dope. Once again, it's got that West Coast feel. Sounds like Dr. Dre produced it. He talks about Cape Town. He talks about South Africa, him touring around South Africa. He talks about the colored community and the colored culture, and he talks about how colors are hated, you know, in South Africa. But anyways, the old man is once again back at the end of that track, and he talks about District 6. He basically talks about growing up there and going through what he had to go through in that area. Moving on to track number 8, The Cape of Good Hope. Dope, fire track. I really like the song. He talks about the drug use. He talks about imprisonment. You know, one of the most notorious prisons in South Africa is in Cape Town, which is Pollsmoor Prison. He talks about that. He talks about the good of the city. I feel like it's more like a ghetto gospel type song. Moving right along onto track number 9, Okapi, which means pocket knife. He gets back into the history talk, and he talks about empowering the colored community and giving them hope and showing them that they can make it too. He also talks about his move from Cape Town to Hillbrow, and how Hillbrow embraced him and Johannesburg embraced him. On this track, he also puts his foot down, you know, lets people know that he is the lyrical giant. And I really like that track for that. He basically puts his stamp, and he's like, I am the lyrical giant. And the granddad is back once again, and he gets gangster, and he gets really personal on that skit. Moving on to track number 10, which is Clearan, which means colored. On this track, he talks about breaking the cycle in the way that he's hustling. He's basically breaking the cycle and showing people how it can actually be done. There's a different way to do it. He also talks about his purpose, you know, his purpose as a rapper. Him being a messenger, you know, he's bringing a message. Once again, the old man is back on the skit, and he talks about the different colors, you know, the different types of colors from different areas and all of that. He basically breaks that all down and tells us more about colors. Moving on to track number 11, CA, Crazy Arabian. On this track, he talks about the history of the Muslim people. He is a Muslim. He talks about the killing in the colored community and how it's so savagery and it's so bad. They're killing young people, you know, young people, innocent people in some cases. The old man is back once again. On this track, he talks about religion. He basically talks about religion and how we should take it seriously and how it can lead us into heaven. Moving on to track number 12, which is 786. He talks about the gang culture and how he almost got robbed. He also includes other colored communities throughout South Africa. He talks about all of them. He mentions them all in this track. It sounds like a two-part track, because in the first part that was he basically talked about what I just mentioned, and on the second track, on the second piece, or should I, the second piece of the track, he talks about death, and he talks about his dad and his grandma. He goes deeper into his Muslim roots and saying peace to the dead. And on the end of that track, once again, the old man is back and he talks about God and the devil, and he talks about spirituality as a whole. Moving on to track number 13, Dick Generation. He talks about the drugs, the results of all the drug use, and he talks about the generation that he has grown in and what it is becoming. On the end of that track, the granddad is back again, and he talks about the white men trying to kill the black men and the colors and putting them or feeding them the drugs, and they all wonder how the drugs are actually coming in. Moving on to track number 14, Pallet Gun. He gets deep into the gun culture in the hood that he grew up in, and the violence which was brought upon him, and what it creates of a person that grew up there. He talked about his first experience with a gun and how he grew up to use and start using a gun or carrying a gun. He talks about his brothers killing them, and on the skit, the old man is back once again, and he talks about kids today, and they don't care, they just kill, you know. The young people are actually the ones doing the killing. It's so savagery and so bad. Moving right along onto track number 15, 1,000 Mistakes. He talks about being a young OG, being stuck in a young body. He also talks about death once again. I love the beat. It actually lets him open up and be the conscious rapper he is. He also talks about how we all, each and every one of us, makes mistakes, and he also talks a bit about how underrated he is. He feels underrated and how he's not being, embraced by the hip hop community. On the skit on this track, the old man talks about how we should be happy and we shouldn't rush into things. We should actually slow down and smell the roses. Basically, slow down and really smell the roses. On the second part of the track, there's a choir singing. The choir is so good, man. It sounds so good. I really love the singing on the end of this track. Moving on to track number 16, For the Colored Girls. He empowers the colored ladies out there, and he sings about it, man. He gives them a voice, I feel. Moving on to track number 17, Mother's Child. On this track, he embraces his mother and he appreciates his mother. And I'd like to just touch on a statement that he mentions in this track, or should I say a lyric. He says, "Heaven is at our mother's feet." I feel like that's a deep statement, really deep statement. The old man is back once again, and he says, moms take the biggest sacrifice. They sacrifice the most out of both parents, and I feel the same way. He really reiterates that and breaks that down. Moving on to track number 18, which is Kham. Kham is basically slang, a certain way that they talk in Cape Town. It's slang. On this track, he speaks on that, and he talks about the different styles of talk. The old man is back once again, and on the end of the track, he talks about the languages and the different kids and how they act, due to what they've come up and learned in the streets of Cape Town. Moving right along to track number 19, Just Be Lekker. Dope track, really catchy. I like the hook, it's so dope. I think YoungstaCPT is really good with the hooks. He comes correct with the hooks, but nonetheless, his lyricism throughout this album is just on fleek. he really gets into the lyrics and he puts his message out there. I really feel this album, it's a good album, I have to say. Moving on to track number 20, which is Kapstad Nair, which means Cape Town Effa. The track is about the hood, and he basically wraps up the album, and he's trying to, you know, talk to his fans, you know, his core fans on this track, I feel. Moving on to track number 21, which is Powerful. On this track, so he taps into the gangster rapper. It also has like a ghetto gospel type feel to this track. The track has a ghetto gospel feel, and yeah. So moving on to track number 22, the old man is basically talking about how things can be fixed and how Cape Town can be rebuilt. He mentions something. He says, out of the dirtiest water, a lily is grown. So no matter how dirty the situation might be, no matter how foggy things might look for you, there's always hope. Whew, what an album. 22 tracks. It's a body of work, I must say. You can tell that he took his time with this album. He basically perfected it, how the skits tie into the topics that he talks about throughout the album. I feel like he really took his time with this one. I'm just waiting to see where do you take it from here. I feel like the album had a message, and he put that message out there. For me, I have to give it a 4. I'd give it a 4 because it's a really good album, top to bottom, but I just feel like it's a tad bit too long. You're gonna find it hard to, you know, listen to the whole album. You know, it's really difficult. 22 tracks is quite a bit, but if you select a few tracks, I feel like there's a couple of hits in here, and listening to the whole body of work is just great. You can tell that he took his time. For me, it gave me a feeling of, it's like he welcomed me to Wynberg, and I basically got into his car and we drove around Wynberg, and he talked about all these things, and it kind of felt like that, you know. It felt like you driving through Wynberg, and you know, he's stopping at this place telling you about this, and he's stopping at that place telling you about that. You know, overall, good album, great album. Tell me what you think about it. Get in the comments, and don't forget to like the video. Get in the comments, tell us what you think. Please like the video, it's good for the ratings, man. We need those ratings, we need to get it up. Tell me what you think about the new setup. Tell me what you think, and yeah, it's your boy Ndrimo the Great. It's been another great hashtag 1401 album reviews. Catch you on the flip side. Peace.